I doing now? Let's turn the echo off. Aries energy, spark, spirit, sets fire to the earth. The earth burns deep in feeling, looking for meaning, seeking language. The connection to the meaning, so we can express something of value, balance it to this equation and validate what it took to get there and how we can move with that, what we can create with that, what we can break with that in this whole thing. Now that little string of words I just put together, I just did an astrological breakdown of a process of nature. But more so turn to the human, the psyche, what we can relate with emotionally, figuratively, metaphysically. Just depends on your language. So think of language, think of the world, think of when you're little, think of going into public, think of the relationship. We want to share a semblance of meaning in this place because it's very strange. The emotions dominate. They're so strong that they create edifice in this world, and we worship what those things are, those belief structures. And it's a beautifully crazy symphony. Alright, so I don't think there's a beginning and an end. I'm using language loosely to help illustrate some points from where we're at in shared meaning, being alive, witnessing, partaking of this thing called life. I'm a Uranian type of person, or Uranian if you're one of those people. That's a good representation of something I feel in order to describe what I've experienced in life and what I tend to experience, which is something I'm trying to change always. That's where my curiosity is. It's in changing the unchangeable, secretly, unconsciously, sometimes consciously. Alright, so just think Aquarius, the age of cult. Think about that for a second. Capricorn is a matured expression of the cult. We can see it in every aspect of life if we look at the symbology of anything. We essentially, take the broad spectrum of the Libra point, the galactic center, it's raining through, beaming across the horizon. The eyes in front see it first. The eyes in the back, they're still building, constructing what they know. And we're all like this in our own lives, from zero to whatever. We're always climbing and falling, rising. So we're trying to make sense of all this. We're trying to build relation. And so the age of cult is where the cult of personality is developed through the polarity of Leo. It's like, are you going to worship that ego, or are you going to see that your ego has been a reflection of whatever that was, and that it's a gift for you? It doesn't need to be changed. What needs to be changed is your inner language. The ego adapts to whatever psyche is permeating through you. Experience is the only thing to actually change you. You may not accept the experience for your entire life, but it doesn't change the facts. So imagine, you experience things when you were born every day. And the continued expressions of those experiences carry through you in psyche, and you're doing things sometimes unconsciously. You don't know why you choose certain things or do certain things, and it's just, there's this expression of a primordial urge taking shape through you. And it's your dark, your shadow, what you ignore or don't see that needs to be seen or expressed or grow or exercise. And so the cult of personality aspect, when we have not seen good expressions of power or balanced expressions of realization, awareness, we see it as bad. We see change as bad. We see tech as bad because of how it's used myopically for limited gain games. And so I despise technology for that reason, but I also understand that that's my thing that I have to overcome because it has a lot of potential. I spent 20 some years working with this stuff. So the age of cult, we have to test our powers. This is why the Anima Animus is rising. Black Moon Lilith is an aspect of the Uranian field at this time especially. But she is the rebellion, that energy, in spirit form. And it's always a inverse of the repressions of ourselves that lives through us. So we're holding this negative charge so it can live. And it lives in the dynamics till we can call it out. We can bring awareness and exercise the demon into an angel, or basically find words for meanings. So we don't have to unknowingly fall into old loops, patterns, or allow that from others, from the system, the systems. You'll notice the systems always want to give you power at a specific point, reference point. It limits your awareness. So when you claim something good like Jesus, Buddha, Martin Luther King, Tesla, whatever, you are enabling the opposite, because you're claiming, well, this person stood out amongst everything else. They're part of everything else. The system co-signs what that icon is in the system. And so we ego identify because that's how we relate. Whatever power, whatever movement that brings strength, it's tethered to weakness. Comedy, the greatest comedy, is tethered in pain. And that's what this life is, tragic comedy, but it's so beautiful. Well worth the experience, for sure. Alright, so Age of Cult, we're sparking Aries here with Aquarius. How do you balance that? Well, look to the last trine. What is the maturation of Aries but Sagittarius? It's a spark of what was set in motion settles in a truth. But the truth is what is changing, because that's the spirit of Capricorn, Sagittarius. And you see like the centaur shooting at the heart of the scorpion. So something deep in the emotions, how do you unbind yourself so that you're not tangled in the projection? The things that gave meaning are now holding us back in this world. And it's a weird... the cosmos, it works in weird ways. You think you know it. It seems so simple, but you're only scratching what you can comprehend. So, balancing the beliefs. What truth change? What's the value change? How have you changed? Accepting how you've changed, how you're different. And how your difference is actually what unites you to other people. When you are able to stand in your difference, then the Leo energy is lit up, and you don't need to prove it. You don't need to do anything in the shit show in order to co-sign you. You're just bringing that spirit into form. And a lot of people are doing that right now, unconsciously. All of us. Some of us are going to rise, some of us are going to fall. But these are our own cycles, If someone has got a hard life, I have sympathy for them, but that's their life. I have to live mine. I've had hard times I've had to overcome. I'm sure I'll have hard times in the future. I'm not going to sacrifice the isness of this process for the isness of some other's process. I'm going to do my part to untangle the shadows of the self. If I can help when I can, I will. If it feels right. When we bind ourselves to the mind and the moral obligations, we can't go by feeling, and the shadows get stuck, and we call it being a good fucking citizen. Going to war to kill people for what? Riches, power, essentially, power exchange. If you wanted to get all scientific and Aquarian about it and step out into the cosmos, you can see how all this stuff seems to be mechanistic. Because you're devaluing the feeling by the observance. So when you can balance what these oscillations and awareness are, it's your the comprehension of realizing that you've overcome a lot of things in life. When you get angry with others and see things, you realize they're going through stuff. Now, if they got a machete or something, that doesn't change what you do. It doesn't change your response. It just lets you know what's worth responding to and what isn't. What charge is worth holding? When I got that charge, of course I know there's something within me that's got it. I'm trying to live it out. So this belief battle, be strong, firm in your own beliefs. that you are a student of this cosmos. You are an expression of Godhood. You need ignorance to learn. It doesn't justify mistakes. It just lets you continue moving along. And when you have an opportunity to help or to rebalance the karmic check sheet, you do so, if you so choose. And that's your freedom right there. So, you probably couldn't see me because I have these screens up, but that's all right. Let's just look quickly where we're at. Now my virtual machine at the time is just the time service I got disabled, so it just doesn't keep up, but that's all right. The time here is correct. So I just did this impromptu. I didn't plan it out. I can't plan shit out. I just got to do it. If it's good, it's good. If it isn't, it isn't. It's okay. It's just a feeling. And as I look here now, I mean, well, Minneapolis is close enough, but you see the North Node on the MC there? That's what I'm speaking right now. Independent, fucking sovereign thinking, expression. The action takes time. It's hard to embolden oneself in the realization when the world doesn't reflect, when your results don't reflect. Maintaining through all the shit you've been through and will go through, that's the measure. And that can't be judged in real time, so it's like, release it. Now Pluto here on the descendant here, it's transformation. What I'm saying here, it's trying to open you up to something different. I have Mercury and Chiron and Nemesis conjunct my DC, and Uranus conjunct my AC. I can't hide from reality. It's here. I can only oscillate between being what that is and experiencing it from an objective, observational, yin-yang type of oscillating awareness, I suppose. But if you've got your own chart, you can see here. If you've got planets on the angles, they're highlighted. And there's Black Moon Lilith right now opposing the Sun on the IC. So speaking of the roots of the cosmos here, and how we relay that to reality through relation, the repressions, the bounce backs, the growth, the beautiful gift of the tragic comedy. We also got Chiron up here. Bringing in the wounds. What is the wound actually doing for us? If we didn't have the wound, what will we do? It's better to have loved and lost than to have never loved at all. At least now you know. It's an expanded awareness. So the wounding is just accepting. And accepting is only one static process in the dynamic progression of an ephemeral life. What do you take with you? It's beyond human comprehension, but the experience, the feeling, there's something there which is measured through the awareness. Your consciousness is expanding. And what is the expansion? It's just releasing old things. You can't carry, if you had to move 1,000 miles on foot, you're not carrying everything. You're just bringing the essentials, you know. And there's people doing that all over the world right now. Who cares why they're doing it? There's probably many reasons. What we settle on is what will be. And if enough people settle on it, it will be what that is. It doesn't change you, though. You're going to be who you are in relation to whatever comes. I think this was a long enough diatribe. Thanks for watching, listening, being